Hi, I'm the Wine. Last week we went to Galway for the Christmas market, and as Austrian, I have to give you a review of what the Christmas market was like. In Austria, Christmas markets are a big deal. People look forward to them all year, and then when they're there, we get a bit drunk, perhaps, because that is one of the features usually at an Austrian Christmas market, that there is a lot of punch. Now, the entire atmosphere, everything that makes the Austrian Christmas markets so great and brings in a lot of the tourists who come to see them, is very hard to replicate. I remember in Dublin they tried to put on a Christmas market and I was very disappointed because it was nothing like what I expected. But here's a review on how Galway is doing with the whole Christmas market thing. So first of all, Galway Christmas market is very different from an Austrian or German Christmas market. Don't go in expecting a one-to-one copy, and let's be honest, that's probably not what you would come to Galway for anyways. You want something that's unique to Galway, otherwise you could go to an Austrian or German city. And it is unique in a lot of ways that I think very Irishly unique. So first of all, there are a lot more food stalls than you'd usually see at an Austrian Christmas market. Which is not a bad thing, because if you're standing in the cold, you're gonna get hungry. You'll want to eat something, especially if you get all the delicious smells of all the foods. That is part of the fun of a Christmas market. Another thing that ties into that that's very different from Austria is, I feel like in Austrian and German Christmas markets people are very traditional in which food stalls they would expect. But at Galway Christmas market you also had a Mexican stall, a Pan-Asian stall, and it's basically, it felt very Irish to me in the sense that if you have an idea for a stall, just come and join, and there's no restrictions on how traditional it is, or is it specifically usually for Christmas. It's just, if you want to join, come bring along your stall and join. Another difference with Galway Christmas market, or maybe Christmas events in general in Ireland, is that there's a lot more stuff for kids to do. So first of all, at Galway Christmas market you have those little carousels with the horses for the kids. There's also a Ferris wheel for, I guess, small kids and big kids who like to have a view of the city. But there's also a Santa's Grotto, which is something you find in general a lot in Ireland, and that's not a thing in Austria at all. Because actually, Santa doesn't bring the gifts, the Christkindl does. So, entirely Christmas traditions to begin with. So the last big difference was actually the most surprising one to me. Because when we went to the Christmas market, there's this one place that's the centerpiece, and I had this really long queue, and we kept wondering, what are all these people queuing for? Until we realized that's the bar, or more specifically a sort of après-ski vibes kind of bar. And that was just really surprising to me because, yes, I am from the east of Austria where there are no mountains. And so skiing isn't usually part of Christmas or winter for me, but I realized it is kind of part of the winter vibes with the skiing and, I guess, drinking lots of alcohol, having the loud music and singing along to. I don't know what actually went in there. I also have never actually been to a bar with skiing, so I don't know for sure. But in a weird way, it seemed to really work to me, and it seemed to be really popular with the locals, so it definitely worked out. So next, let's talk about what Galway Christmas market has in common with a traditional Austrian or German Christmas market. So first of all, and maybe the most important thing, is the atmosphere. And one thing that I think they did really well is that you have several sort of lanes of stalls that you can meander around, take a look, then you turn a corner, there's another stall, another row, and you can just kind of keep going and keep being immersed in the experience, because it is a big enough Christmas market but also laid out really well that it just keeps you moving throughout the Air Square Park, along with all the decorations they put up where there are less people, so you also have a space that you can go to that isn't as busy, while still staying in the Christmassy vibe. The second similarity are the drinks. Although the drinks are a little bit different, there was one stall that did sell Christmas punch. It was a bit disappointing because based on the price I thought at first like, okay, similar prices to Austria, and then they just give you this tiny cup, like half a cup. And in Austria, aside from, yes, there are Christmas markets where the prices can be really expensive, but it feels almost like an insult to get just such a tiny cup. Like, who comes here for a tiny cup of Christmas punch? Like, let's be honest, when you go to a Christmas market in Austria, you're often there for the drinks and to have several rounds of them. So you'd expect a proper nice mug full of steaming punch, and they didn't quite have that. So all in all, if you ask me, is it worth going to Galway for the Christmas market? I'd say yes, it's definitely worth visiting. Maybe also have other reasons to go to Galway, other things to look at, because the way I think to enjoy the Christmas market is best, and that's kind of how we did it, is to have something you do during the day, and then in the afternoon you come back evening after evening and you try out different foods, look at different stalls, think about what you might want to buy as a Christmas present, and it's more of a continuous experience instead of just going there once and that's it. Now, if you're wondering what else there's to do in Galway, make sure to subscribe to our channel, because there'll be another video coming, as well as there are already a lot of other videos about different places in Ireland and what you're like to visit or live in. So make sure to subscribe, ring the notification bell, and see you next time. Bye!